North Dakota. Public land.
All these trails that are funneling right down into this little crossing, so it's gonna be a killer spot.
And Justin Fisketjon has his sights set on one big giant river bottom whitetail.
If he comes by and does what he did the last 2 mornings, that kicker buck should be in trouble.
He's dead right there. All right, folks, we got our two cameras deployed out here. Now we can let them soak. I expect to have a fair amount of action on these cameras, judging by all the trails and the sign down here. So, I feel pretty dang good about it. There's our setup right there. Like I said, there's heavy trails. Well, you can see them all up there. All these trails that are funneling right down into this little crossing, so it's gonna be a killer spot. Marked that this camera's here. Got them saved and marked on Onyx. Now we let them do their thing. Unreal, the sign down here. I'm pretty jacked up, to be honest. Well, good morning, folks. We are out doing some scouting this morning. I got pictures of a couple nice bucks down in this area so far this summer, but my preparation's been a little lacking this year. My son and I, Grayson, we've been running all over, traveling and fishing and doing a bunch of other fun stuff all summer, so I really kind of put deer on the back burner this year, and totally okay with that. But it is the 27th of August right now, so it's 3 days until bow season opens up. I've only had 4 cameras out so far this summer, and I got a backpack full of them. I'm gonna try to get them deployed today, most of them hopefully. I'm gonna try to just scatter them through this spot that we got pictures of a big one early this year. He kind of blew up from last year, if it's the same deer I'm thinking of. But there's him. I don't even remember how many points he has. I think he's like a 7x6. And there's a short tine 5x5 that I've had, you know, the last 3 years. I've had pictures of him, so this will be the 4th year in a row I've got pictures of him. Tall brow tine buck, I think this is the 3rd year that I've got pictures of him. So those two are definitely on the hit list. And then the big guy, which I'm thinking is the 5x4 from last year that just blew up and added a big forked kicker and extra point on the other side. So 3 deer that are worth flinging an arrow at for sure. And we got to try to pin them down. Nothing's been consistent. I haven't got a ton of daylight pictures of the big guys anyways, so this is about the depth in from between the food source and the bedding that I want to be. I don't want to get too far back in this early. I'll stay on the fringe a little bit if I can. And we're gonna just kind of deploy cameras at this depth all the way through here on all the different trails, and try to prioritize the ones that have the buck tracks on them, obviously. And when they're in velvet, I think they don't want to go through stuff that's super thick, so trying to find the little thinner areas in the brush down here too. It's always been a good strategy in the past. So we're gonna deploy camera 1. I got some hacking to do on this tree to try to get some of these branches and stuff cut off. I don't know where I can get this GoPro set up to watch that, but let's see what we can do here. Alright folks, we got another camera deployed. Right there. There's a pretty good trail that comes through all that nasty thick brush. Comes right through here and goes right back into some really good bedding back there. So hopefully start staggering cameras through this depth right between where they head out to feed and where they bed. We can pick up some pictures of one of these mature bucks and try to get a pattern going. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 new cameras deployed so far. Here's the latest one. I packed this stump in, tamped it into the mud here, and there's a pretty decent little trail right here. As you can see, there's water right here, and it gets really thick willows down here, so this is just a natural little spot for these deer to come across. Not real muddy, not a whole lot of water. You know, definitely some buck tracks in here, and we'll see what's coming through here. I mean, you look at all this stuff, or even right up there on that point, a guy could kind of make a little homemade ground blind up there and have maybe a 30-yard shot is all to this trail, this natural little funnel here. I really like it. I got another camera right down here. There's another trail coming through here. So the other 2 cameras I got are back in the woods. We're gonna kind of walk the edge of this big willow bar now and deploy a few more right along the crossing. So trying to get somewhat of a pattern of what these 3 big bucks are doing, and maybe we'll get lucky and we'll run an arrow through one of them this fall. Stay tuned, on to the next one. Okay folks, we just had an insane card pull. I'll show you some of the pics and little video clips I got of the bucks when we get back home on the computer. But this camera was the only camera that I put out initially that wasn't sending me pics. And as luck would have it, this is where the majority of the big buck action's been, including the big boy. The 5x5, short tine 5x5, the tall brow buck, and the big kicker buck. All of them have been using this trail and using it pretty consistently. I think the big boy was here 3 days ago. They've been pounding this trail in daylight, morning and night. And I set up a second trail camera. There's another trail that's about 15 to 20 yards away from the first initial one. I'll show you. This is where we've been getting all the pictures and video of the big bucks, and they're going up right there, and some of them are going up and down right here, and they're crossing this little spot. So you can see it up there, but I cut out a little hole up there in the bank, and it's a killer spot. They're not going to be able to see me up there. Let's go up there. There's tracks all over right here too. So I might get in a little trouble if someone sneaks in there, but I dug this out, got out my shooting lane. They're coming from across over there. You can see the trail, and some of them are coming from over here, and they're walking down and they're crossing right here. So I should have like a 20-yard shot if they're crossing right on this little trail here. They should be broadside or quartering away a hair. Opening night, you're probably gonna find me sitting right here. Check the wind. As long as the wind direction holds what they say, should be a perfect wind for sitting this spot. Oh, I'm pumped up, man.
The Lookout is presented by Horn Hunter, Conquest Scents, Baronet Blinds, River's Edge Tree Stands, Build the Bone Mineral Company, and Illusion Hunting Systems.
All right, folks, back at the house. I'm going to show you the pictures. I checked them on my phone when we were down hanging cameras, and I checked the card on this one camera. I put 4 cameras out initially, and one of the 4 was not sending me any pictures. So I pulled the card, threw it in my phone SD card reader, and went through, and I about pooped my pants because the buck that we've been kind of looking for all summer, and the other 2 shooters, all 3 shooters that we have down in this spot, we're using this one trail where this camera was pretty dang consistently. So first picture is on August 6th, and they go all the way up to a couple days ago. And now that I am receiving pictures on this tactacam, he used that same trail last night and the last 2 mornings as far as the big kicker buck goes. So I'll show you some of these pics and videos we got of the big boys down there. There he is, as you can see, on the 6th. Nice young buggles coming through there. Another little buck. There's the big guy again on the 9th, coming out in daylight. There's the big brow tine buck, he's at least 5 years old. And there's the big kicker buck again. There's the big brow again. What's this here? And there's the kicker buck. Big boy again during daylight. Short tine 5. Big brow. Short tine 5. Big brow. Kicker buck. 5. Kicker buck. Short tine 5. These bucks are just wearing this trail out. I don't know why on earth they're crossing here. There's a kicker buck again. Short tine buck again. And that's it. I'll go back here and we'll look at a couple of the videos I got of the kicker buck. And he shed his velvet here a couple nights ago. And he doesn't look near as impressive. They never do, but he doesn't look near as impressive now that he's out of velvet. And he always does the same thing. He crosses there and then he walks down the bank a little bit and then he goes up the bank. Right there. Big boy again. I made a little makeshift ground blind. The last week anyways, he's been coming out kind of a little too late in the evenings. It's dark out, but in the mornings, the last 2 mornings he's come by there during broad daylight. And where my little ground blind's set up there, I should have an awesome shooting lane and a perfect wind on Sunday morning. I'm working night shift, so pull a few strings, see if I can get somebody to cover for me, and try to slip out there Sunday morning, get in my little makeshift ground blind, and if he comes by and does what he did the last 2 mornings, that kicker buck should be in trouble. Alright folks, I'll turn this down a little bit. It is September the 3rd. Just got dressed and sprayed down here at the truck. We got about a half-mile walk in, and we're gonna get nestled into our little homemade ground blind in the willows that I made for this kicker buck. He's been coming out pretty consistently, crossing on the same trail quite a bit. Sprayed down super heavy, got the scent lock on because I know we have a less than ideal wind. It's basically non-existent this morning, so on the ground in the willows, that wind's just gonna be kind of swirling in there, I have a feeling. So, trying to be as scent free as possible, but let's slip in there, get our cameras and everything all set up and see if we can kill him this morning. Let's do it.
legal shooting light. He's dead right there. First set of the year. Guys, he's been using this trail so much. I made this, cut out this little homemade blind in these willows along the bank. And I heard him coming. I heard his feet in the mud coming down the bank. And I had just looked at my phone a few minutes before, and it was 3 minutes after a legal shooting light this morning. So hopefully there's enough light for the GoPro, because I had a GoPro set up right down there, right by where he come walking out. But I smoked him at a little over 20 yards. He ran across the water, and he's dead. I mean, he died in 30 seconds. Holy crap, North Dakota public land. September 3rd, my first sit this year. We freaking crushed our target buck, baby. Call Troy.
Hello.
Guess what?
What?
I killed him.
Already?
I killed the big one, the big kicker buck. He's laying dead right on the other side of the bank right now. Awesome frickin' video. I think my GoPro was on. I had my GoPro set up right down there. I crushed him. Yeah, I heard him coming down the bank. I heard his feet in the frickin' mud. And I drew my bow back before I even saw him, because I just had a feeling it was gonna be him, and I wanted to be ready. The camera was already recording. And he walked out, and he's kind of stopped before I could shoot, and then he walked into my shooting lane, and at like 20 yards, I frickin' smoked him, and I videoed him run across the water, run down the bank, and tip over.
Yeah.
All right, dude, I'm gonna get my stuff together here. I'll send you a picture in a couple minutes when I get over to him. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. All right, folks, I'm gonna show you my setup here. I got that Barnett ground chair that I was telling you about. Had all my backpack and all my stuff I didn't need over here. All my binoculars, rangefinder was set up here. I dug this hole out in the side of this bank so that chair would sit flat. And you can see I had dirt here to keep my feet up. And I had my bow. My release clipped onto my string on my bow. All my cameras were recording, before, you know, even a few minutes before legal shooting light, because I knew it would happen fast. And I actually heard him coming. I heard his feet kind of suction cupping in the mud. And I was hoping it was him that was walking down, so I drew my bow back in anticipation so he didn't see me when he come out into my shooting lane. And he walked out and he kind of stopped broadside right back over here, about 20 yards away. He stopped and stood there for a little bit, and then he started walking, and I shot him while he was walking right here. And I don't know if you could see his white belly on the other side of the bank, but he's exactly 98 yards away from where I'm sitting right now, so he didn't go very far at all. Oh, unbelievable. I don't know that I've ever killed a deer on my first sit before. I'm usually the guy who drags it out till the very bitter end, but this deer, for whatever reason, just had a love affair with this trail more than any other deer down here. He was using it. I don't know how many pictures and videos I have of him using this exact same trail morning and night. He used it last night, he used it yesterday morning, and he used it this morning. So I mean, he's just hammering this trail, and a lot of times he was the only deer using this trail, and it was ultimately his demise. And trail cameras played a big role in killing this deer. This is a hard spot to get back into, and running those tactacams was definitely a major tool for my success on this North Dakota public land buck. All right, folks, here he is. We recovered my buck that we shot this morning. Absolutely incredible hunt.
decided that this morning was the morning to try to slip out a little early and get in my little makeshift ground blind that we made a few weeks ago when we put out some more trail cameras. And I know I've said it a few times, but this buck, he was just hammering that trail for whatever reason. That was his spot, and I knew it was just a matter of time until I got an opportunity. I just had to get out here, and this morning everything worked out perfect. I mean, I got in there, got all the cameras rolling, had my release clipped on my bowstring because I knew when it happened, it was going to happen fast. And I heard him coming. I heard his feet in the mud, and he come walking off the bank and out into the edge of the water there, and I was already at full draw before I even saw him. And when I shot, I thought that I had hit him a little back and a little high, but being up on that bank shooting down, and he was a little quartering away, the exit was perfect. And as you saw in the video, he ran, I think he was 98 yards away from me when he died. He ran right across the water and tipped over in a really quick, humane kill, which as a bow hunter, that's what we pray for right there. But very thankful for this opportunity at this deer. He was my #1 hit list buck, and man, he is even prettier in person, I'll tell you that. Absolutely gorgeous buck, and very blessed to get out here and get an opportunity to hunt these things. And it's been a few years since I shot a really good one with my bow, and it is definitely worth the wait. And very grateful to have my dad here with me too. He came down and helped me get him out, and we're already sweating and we haven't even done anything yet. So we're gonna try to snap a few pictures real quick and get this thing out of here before it gets too terribly hot.
Man, look at that big sucker coming off the side. Holy criminy. Good job. What the heck?
The Fisketjon family has celebrated so many success stories over the years hunting the river bottoms of North Dakota and Montana.
That's a special deer.
And let's just say, if they get their sight set on one specific target, it's game over.